Hello and welcome back to my channel. So this morning I'm at another premiere in, yay. It seems like I'm doing a lot of these nowadays. In fact, I think it might only be, I mean I did like do 3 videos in a row, didn't I? But I don't know, they were all on the same day, same premiere in. Anyway, I'm at a premiere in near Chessington at the moment. It's literally only like a 5-minute walk that way maybe, or that way. I'm not really sure where my room is oriented, but yeah, I'm 5 minutes away from Chessington because I'm at Chessington for the weekend. I'll be doing another day today, so that'll be another separate video. But yesterday I was also on Park because I went to a very special event, which was the, hold on, I'll just get the pin there, the Vampire 35 years behind the scenes VIP experience thing. I was also coming to the park just to like do the park again because I haven't done it in ages. I think it's been like over a decade since I last went to the park, so yeah, lots changed, and to be honest I don't really remember much of it, so it feels like kind of like a new park for me. So yeah, it was quite an experience yesterday. Mainly kind of just chilled for most of the day. Got on a few things, got on like Safari for the first time, which was fun, a lot of cute animals with that. Got on Tomb Blaster again for the first time in a while. That's a really good ride, genuinely. And then Croc Drop, it was fun. Much higher than estimated queue time, but yeah, it was fun still. Also did a Room on the Room as well. I think even though I got traumatised by Hocus Pocus Hall as a child, yeah, I feel like Room in the Room, it just kind of feels more flat in a way. It doesn't really feel like there's as much to it. But the main thing I was going for was the Vampire behind the scenes, which included a lot of different fun things. Also wanted to say thank you to a couple of people who joined me yesterday, who I got to meet for the first time. It had been a long time coming. So I want to thank Donna, who I've mentioned on the channel before. I mentioned in the channel update number 6, at the start of this year. Yeah, I mentioned her in that one very briefly. Because yeah, she's been like a massive help in the background, really supportive a lot of the time, and yeah, you've been absolutely great, Donna, thank you. And yeah, it was just lovely to finally meet you yesterday, finally get that hug, finally get a selfie as well, a couple of selfies, which was lovely. But yeah, you're really lovely to spend time with you yesterday. Really helped me out as well, where I had a bit of a dip in the middle of the day. Really helped me get through that and helped me really enjoy the rest of the day, which was lovely. Hoping we can hopefully see each other at some other point, if I can come back down to Chessington, or you know, maybe do some of the other South Parks at some point, maybe even a day in London or something. I'd be more than happy to join you at that point, yeah, if you're ever free. So on to the actual VIP event. So it kind of started when I went to go and collect my lanyard. This is the lanyard, there we go. I added a little vampire sticker to the card, which I found in the Croc Drop queue line. It was on one of the railings, and so I just thought, screw it, I'm going to take that, because I didn't know where else to get them. But yeah, so you got a little card with your number on. I was number 30, and luckily they were very good with accommodating for what group you wanted to be in as well. I was very lucky that I went there at that point, because it was the last space in group 2 that they had, and that was the group that I was in. But I asked whether I could be with Donna and that group, just so you know, I could do the behind the scenes and stuff with them. And luckily they let me, you know, ask like the booking name and stuff, which was good, because they forgot what group number they were in. So so they were very good with, like, you know, asking what the booking name and stuff was. They managed to get me in that group, and I say it was literally the last slot they had for that group, so luckily I got there on time. And yeah, you know, it was really easy booking. I didn't even have to like show my ticket or anything. It was actually just say my surname. We've got the lovely lanyard with this protective phone pouch, which I remember Elise and Sam, when they did their behind the scenes, they showed this as well. You get to keep this as well, which is really cool, with a really cool Vampire VIP lanyard. And people might wonder, like, oh, you know, is it easy to use your phone in this? I think I actually asked that on Elise and Sam's video, like asked in the background. They are very easy to use when you have your phone in. The only issue is I have like a fingerprint thing on the back of my phone, which means it's you know, to unlock my phone and stuff. You can't use that necessarily, so each time you'll have to unlock your phone, which is why I'd suggest when you are doing any behind the scenes tours, I'd just keep your phone on, to be honest. Like, just keep it, you know, don't put it on standby or anything, so that means you're not having to constantly unlock it, which means you're going to need a lot of charge for this, because yeah, unfortunately I have my power bank, but yeah, you're going to need a lot of charge for this thing, because especially for this one, it was like a 3-hour thing. There was like 3 separate things that we did. They're very easy to use. You can use the screen really well, the power button as well, really easy to use on it. Even like to get a torch on my phone, I normally shake my phone. That works really well as well. So yeah, it's really easy to like take photos and stuff, take videos really awesome. Fortunately, they also let me use this camera as well because it had a wrist strap on, so as long as I kept the camera on the wrist strap at all times, they didn't have a problem with me using it, so that's fine. I'm not sure whether that applies to other behind the scenes tours. They normally send like an email with like information about it, you know, like what time you need to get to things and stuff like that. It will probably say on that what you can use. If it says that you can use a camera as long as it has a wrist strap on, absolutely fine. I did ask them beforehand as well. They said as long as it stays on the wrist strap, absolutely fine. I should probably clarify as well with this pin that I showed earlier, the Vampire 35 pin. This is not one that we got from the behind the scenes tour. This was from the Vampire shop. I'm not sure whether they're going to be available today or not. I'm assuming hopefully they might have a stock for today. But yeah, it's a really cool Vampire 35 pin. I bought that separately. I think it was like £6. I don't know what it was on discount, but like I got 2 of them. Anyway, well, one's going to go to Elise and Sam. They're pretty cheap and good price, to be fair, which is good. But yeah, that was not from the behind the scenes tour. That was one that I bought separately. There were a couple of little goodies that I got and stuff, which I'll definitely have to talk about. But yeah, that was a separate thing. So like I said, we were split into 3 separate groups, and each group would do a different part of the tour at a different time. So our group had the kind of like the lift hill stuff first. I think it's like the second lift hill, and going around that bit, kind of like the outdoors bit essentially. Then we had the Tomb Blaster behind the scenes, which they said was a sneak peek. It felt a lot more like a sneak peek. Apparently it's essentially, well, I mean, I'll probably go more into it when I talk about it, but it's essentially meant to be like a sneak preview of a full behind the scenes tour they're doing. But my god, it felt like a full behind the scenes tour. Like it was, I'm going to talk about it. And then obviously the last part was the John Wardley part in the station and going into the break room as well, which was another very cool moment as well. Just having John Wardley there. Everyone loves Wardley, don't they? So we'd have each of the 3 groups, and then we'd all be, we all go off and do our own things in whatever order. We did them in that order, but the other groups would have done them in separate orders as well. I think it's just so they could split everyone off, because, you know, there were 60 people there, so it's like instead we had them split into groups of 20, so that made it much more manageable. So the first part was on the second lift hill and that kind of area. Also, there's like the tunnel that we went through as well. Yeah, some really cool sights there and stuff. You know, getting to be so close to the track, you know, getting to be in those kind of behind the scenes areas is really cool. The only time I've done a kind of like a behind the scenes of a coaster before was for the Gold Rush one, which was a very last minute thing that happened at the Man of Madness Attraction Source event. And yeah, so we got to kind of be in a ride area for that. Got to go into like the, I think it's like the launch bay, like I can't remember what it was called. So I've kind of been in like an area like that before, but I think it's just also just such an iconic ride as well. I think going into the tunnel as well was quite an interesting bit as well, just because like, you know, going into right into the dark and stuff, because it was really dark at that point. I should probably also say I forgot. Obviously, I'm not going to edit this in order, am I? Yeah, we also had a ERT as well. I just moved straight onto the behind the scenes stuff, of course, because that was the main event. But just like before the event, I actually completely forgot. We got an ERT of Vampire, which I believe was for like 45 minutes. I can't remember. I mean, we got a lot of rides. I think we got like 6 or 7 rides on it. And I should probably say as well, what do I think of Vampire? Because I mean, this is really the first time I've done it in like a decade or so. So yeah, my thoughts on it are probably quite interesting. So I think it is definitely a fun ride. Like, it does like feel you're kind of like whipping through the forest on this like vampire, and you know, I do quite like the elements that it's got in it, which kind of make it feel like it's almost like an alive ride in a way, kind of like with Nemesis and stuff, where it feels like you're kind of going on this creature, which is quite cool. Although I do have to say, another problem is the same problem I had with the original Nemesis, is a lot of head bashing against the restraints, and I think that might be less of a thing to do with the ride itself. Don't get me wrong, I think there is part of thing, like just with the fact that it's 35 years old. I believe heard on the behind the scenes is that it might have had some elements kind of redone, I think, or not fully retracked, can't remember what the word is now, but like I think that was like kind of 10 years into its run, and so then it's been kind of like this for like 25 years, but even then that's still a long time for it. And yeah, I think that doesn't help, but I think it's also because the restraints are right next to your head. They're gonna bash. I found the best way to ride it though was to, as it says, sit back. Yeah, if you put your head right back, because normally what I'd do on Nemesis is I'd actually put my head forwards, and that kind of stops the head bashing. That doesn't really work on this. It still does bash your head a bit, when you sit back completely, right against the restraint. So yeah, it still does bash a little bit, but it's a lot less. And I felt like it was more kind of, it was just about clipping the sides and not like fully bashing its sides. But yeah, sometimes it did, which yeah, wasn't that fun. It was cool to, you know, go around those kind of woods and stuff, the environment. And something that was really awesome was that on one of our rides, there was a bit where you go over the queue line, and we literally saw John Wardley slowly walking through the queue line. I must just say, John Wardley, he was doing the theatrics to start with. Like, I remember when I went onto my first ride on the ERT, and I looked at like the bit where you walk down like the slope to get into the queue line in the main station, and he was just like slowly walking like fucking Dracula. Like, it was great. Like, honestly, he was getting like really into the theatrics of it. I just smiled to him, and then he just had this like really serious look on his face because he was really getting into it, which I love. I think that's the thing. I think he's someone who really loves theatrics and stuff when he like creates these rides. Like, it's not just about like the specific mechanics of it. He actually loves to really get into the character of it and stuff, which obviously I appreciate. Then we did a thing of like, where's Wardley, whether we could find John Wardley or not, which I won one round of because I saw him outside in the bit just outside Gruffalo at one point. So I won Where's Wardley at one point. But I think the thing for Vampire for me that I really love is, and I haven't got to do the queue line yet, I'll be doing the queue line today because obviously on the ERT, I think we might have got to go through like the fast track or something, so we got to go through that little bit, the queue line, but we didn't get to do the full queue line, so I'll be doing that today. But yeah, I think for me, mainly Vampire, for me it's the theming, it's is there really much of a story? I mean, it's kind of like a general storyline about kind of like Dracula, isn't it, and like vampires, but yeah, I just love all the theatrics of that, really. The station itself looks beautiful. I love like all like the paintings that they have over the walls and stuff, which look lovely. Obviously, I love the big animatronic that they've got there, which apparently it was Two Swords who actually made the animatronic movements and stuff, and might have made the animatronic face. I remember John Wardley saying like one of the first things he said about was that Two Swords didn't really have any involvement in this because apparently they didn't want to have like, you know, they didn't really want to involve themselves with theme parks and stuff. So yes, that was another interesting fact from his bit, but I'm getting ahead of myself with that. But yeah, I think like kind of the ride experience, I wouldn't really necessarily say it was as bad as the original Nemesis for me, because I know that I had massive issues with the original Nemesis. I love Nemesis Reborn now, so that's all that matters. So I don't really think it's necessarily as bad as that, but it isn't the smoothest in regards to head bashing. Really, it's the head bashing that's the biggest issue. There were some bits where it kind of like really jolted you as well. And again, I'm fine with like intense rides. It's just I don't want to feel like I'm getting beaten up on the ride, and that's kind of what I felt with that. It's what I felt with the original Nemesis. I don't really feel it as much or barely at all really with Nemesis Reborn. It happens maybe sometimes, but not often. And I think with Vampire as well, the problem is that each seat feels very different depending on which one you go in, which helps with the variety, but it means you don't really know what you're going to get, which means you don't really know how much you need to brace yourself and stuff depending on seats. It seemed like the seats on the right seemed to be a bit more comfortable, and the nearer the front you are, the better. Then after the ERT, we got some tea. We had some dinner at the Burger Kitchen there. Essentially, we got to choose a meal to have. They gave us a lovely donut as well. That was one of the other bits, which unfortunately I don't have on me now because I ate it last night when I got back to the hotel because I needed a little snacky when I got back here. And fortunately, it's one of the. I'm literally looking in my bin now to see it was Planet Donut. Which is, I believe they've taken over from Project Donut. I think they were the ones that used to be at the Merlin Parks. So we all got given one of them. Luckily, it was in a box as well, which meant I could bring it back to my hotel, like in my bag, and it was completely safe. But yeah, it was a really cool donut. Really tasted quite nice as well. Really nice. I think it's one of my first kind of ones of them that I've had. So yeah, defo recommend. But yeah, that was a nice little free thing that we got, and just obviously the meal being free, got to choose from a bunch of options. They started doing like which is kind of ironic, this, because I remember they were saying about that auction that they were going to be doing online of some of the parts, and I remember I think Elise posted on Coaster Castle to say about the auction. I said in the comments, oh, imagine if they do an auction on Park, and she said, no, it's just going to be online. They kind of did it. It wasn't an auction exactly that they did, but it was almost close, to be honest, with the reaction, all the enthusiasm in there. Essentially, they got one of the, I can't remember his name now, unfortunately, but they got one of the tech guys to come in, and he had a load of original parts from Vampire, and essentially did some like quiz questions and stuff to, you know, and whoever won the quiz questions, like basically whoever got closest, they won the part. So they had like a wheel, like a small wheel, I think they had. I can't remember what it was now, but I think I can probably find a picture somewhere. But it kind of felt like an auction in a way because of the amount of people shouting out answers and numbers. The problem is he didn't stand, for one thing, he didn't have like a microphone or a megaphone, but also he didn't like stand in the middle of the room, which means we could barely hear him, is the thing. So that was an issue. Could have probably stood a little bit closer in the room or had someone louder to speak or whatever. Which is a bit of a shame because we weren't exactly right near him, so yeah, we could only just about hear him. I did get to hold one of the parts though, which is good because he kind of passed around one of these like big heavy parts. Again, I cannot remember the name, I'll probably look that up. So that was a nice fun little thing, and to be honest, I was just kind of having more fun with the fact that we couldn't hear him and that I just really didn't care, to be honest. Like for me, it's not really ride parts I'd be interested in, it's theming. You know, if they were giving away bits of theming, that's what I'd be more into. And I think it is also the fact as well, I don't necessarily have the sentimentality for Vampire, which is kind of weird that I went to the event, to be honest, but yeah, I don't really necessarily have that sentimentality for it as much. If it was something like Curse at Alton Manor or maybe one of the scare mazes from Towers, that's where more of my sentimental value would come in, or even if it's just like any kind of scare history props or whatever, you know, that would be more cooler for me. But yeah, I'm kind of more into theming than ride parts in a way, unless if it's a themed ride part, that's probably what I'd be more interested in.
1 hour later.
Right, okay, just came back from breakfast, so I need to remember what I was talking about. I think I got back onto the VIP tour finally, after remembering all the stuff that came before it. So the first part was with the second lift hill, also the tunnel. As it was quite cool just to be in that ride area and stuff, especially when it started getting dark as well. We got to see some of the lighting from far off, which was quite nice. But they had to use like a torch in the tunnel and stuff, so you know we could actually see. They also did like the photo ops as well, which I'm hoping by the time this video comes out, that photo op will hopefully actually have, would be nice, because I think there was a way that they might be able to send those over and stuff. But essentially we went to the bit where they take the photo on the ride, and then they actually took a photo of us there, which is pretty cool. One thing that I do think is a bit of a shame with this one is that I remember on the one that Elise and Sam did, they got given some lanterns. I think they would have been quite cool. It would have been a nice little added like hands-on thing, which would have been really lovely to have. It's not like a biggie, and it also would have helped with how dark it got as well. You know, if we all had the lanterns, then you know we wouldn't have needed the big torch or anything. Maybe it's because they had too many people, I'm not sure. Maybe because they would have had to like swap between groups, maybe. But you know, like maybe like as one group finished, another group would have to, you know, pass over the lanterns and stuff, which I think would have been possible, but maybe it just would have been a bit of a logistical nightmare. One fun thing to learn about as well was about the different things that have fallen off the rise. Well, apparently the weirdest one they got was like a toupee or something, and they also said about an anecdote about a guy whose wallet fell and a lot of cash came out. I think it was like 400 or 500 quid and £20 notes or something, they said, and it's like, yeah, all that money went everywhere, so they had to pick all that back up. So yeah, so, you know, some fun anecdotes there and stuff, some yeah, really nice moments with that. And it's just nice just to be able to like film freely around these areas as well, no problem. The only thing we couldn't film on the tour, which I think, you know, a lot of enthusiasts would probably know, is not allowed to film the op booths or anything, or like the op cabins, any kind of like the control panels, which completely get, and I was completely fine with that. So the next part of the tour was the Tomb Blaster one, which I do have to admit was my favourite. I did really like it. I think probably more because there's a lot more theming with it, and I love theming and stuff and rides, you know, like yes, it was nice to see like, you know, little bits of theming here and there with the vampire one, especially in the station, but there wasn't really as much with the lift hill and stuff. They had like the big statue, which I believe they said was from another ride. It was, I can't remember the name of it now, because there's a reference to it in Tomb Blaster as well, I think. It was like a Western ride that they used to have or something. So they had that statue, which, yeah, I think again in Elise and Sam's one, they took some pictures and footage of that. It's a really cool statue. You can see it. It's just before you get to the second lift hill. If you look on your left, you'll see this like giant statue of the guy on a horse. Really cool. With the Tomb Blaster one, I think it's just there was a lot more theming, and we basically got a walk of the entire ride. Like when it said a sneak peek, I thought we were only going to get like a bit of the ride. We were going to get to go and see one of the scenes or something. No, it was a full thing. I think it might be because this is kind of almost like the preview run. Maybe that's what they meant by like a sneak peek. They meant like it's a preview of this behind the scenes that they're going to get. So it's not necessarily fully polished, it's not necessarily fully, you know, finished necessarily, and that's probably the reason why they said that, maybe to kind of, you know, lower our expectations a little bit if it's not 100%. I think they did a very good job, though. We were basically on the second ever one that they were doing of this tour. And yeah, I believe the guide that we had for that was Katie. I think it was Katie. And I can't remember the other guy who was with us, but he was kind of with our group in general, and he came with our little tour, because that was the thing as well. We had 20 of us in the whole group, but for the Tomb Blaster one, we got split up into little groups of 5. So that means, and so we went around at different points. And luckily that meant that because we were group 1 in that group 2, we were group 1 in all of them, we got to actually do it in order. So we got to start off in the station and then end in the queue line. And so yeah, that was really cool to get that in order. We actually went into the op booth first, I think, which again weren't allowed to film, so I have no footage of that, but there was a kind of little cool moment where I got to go onto the microphone for it. It wasn't as cool as Elise's one. Elise got to do one in on the Vampire behind the scenes tour, where she actually got to do the sit back, hold tight, the vampire's about to take flight. She did a really good job of that. You know, I may even include that clip in here, I don't know.
Sit back, hold tight, the vampire is about to take flight.
So she got to do a cooler one of that. With me, they didn't give me any lines, so I was just like testing, and I said, welcome to Tomb Blaster, because I had to improv, and I'm shit at improv. Yeah, so that was a nice little cool moment. I just thought might as well. They did give an opportunity later in the John Wardley bit to do like basically the one that Elise did, but I was incredibly tired by that point, and I probably would have gone as hard as Elise did with it and probably scared everyone. So yeah, I didn't do it for that one, but I got to go on a mic at some points. That was good. We got told about what all the different buttons do and stuff. You know, got to see like the kind of map layout of the ride, which is pretty cool. And then from there, we just essentially went through the entire ride, and we went through every single scene. You know, we got to see some like nice close shots of like, you know, the ride cars and stuff. So many like bits of theming in there, so many bits which like you wouldn't really think of seeing, you know, bits like behind you as well on the ride, which you don't necessarily see. Like, I think it might be the one with like the skeletons and the spikes, where like one of the spikes comes up, and I think that is that the bit where like there's the wall that turns and stuff. Again, I only did this again for the first time yesterday, so I don't remember it all, but yeah, behind that there's a load of skeletons behind it as well, which I never saw. A really cool part as well was near the end, where if you look down over the side, which you never see as like a member of the public normally, they have an old prop which I believe was used in Terror Tomb, the version before Tomb Blaster, which was like an old sarcophagus that they used to have. Again, I'll probably share this on screen now, but yeah, they still have it there behind the scenes, which is so cool. Like, it's, you know, it's not something that the public would ever see, but it's just a really cool little Easter egg there, which was really awesome to see. I remember one that I really liked was they have this kind of like wolf or jackal in a cage, and we actually got to see that in the light, and it looks like completely different. Honestly, it looks a bit janky and a little bit creepy. It looks more creepier in that lighting, you know, when it's lit up. But yeah, it's just so cool to see all those props and stuff. I think also the skeletons at the end, because I got traumatized by them as a kid, because I didn't realize they were coming. And again, as a kid, being a lot shorter, they were a lot more menacing. They're really not that bad to me, as they do not lean forwards that much. We also got a couple of photo op moments as well, in the bit with like the giant jackal. Again, I don't know the technical names for all these characters and stuff, but yeah, the bit with the giant jackal, we got a photo from kind of like across the way, which was quite cool. And then in the bit with the giant snake, we got to stand in one of the cars, and then they took a picture of us like holding one of the guns, which is cool. So there are like little photo op moments where you hand one of the members of staff your phone, and then they can take a picture for you, which is really cool. There are also some bits where they let us like touch bits of it as well. So I got to touch like the trommel wall, and one of the little scarabs as well, they let us touch as well, which is really nice and cool. But yeah, just like so many little details, and I think that's why that was my favourite, because there's so many little details, so much to look at and stuff, so much theming in there, and we literally got a tour of the entire thing, which was awesome. So yeah, definitely my favourite part of it. And I think once this Tomb Blaster behind the scenes comes out, I would definitely recommend going to do it, because it is a really awesome one. I think, to be honest, like, obviously I did the vampire one kind of in 2 parts in a way, kind of separated. I do think the Tomb Blaster one's a bit better. Again, it's just because you get to go through that full like kind of ride experience, while with vampire it's like I know this is kind of less theming. Like, I don't know whether on the behind the scenes vampire one they go into the queue line as well. I'm not sure. We didn't do the queue line in ours, is the thing. It was quite cool to like hear about the other rides as well, like the Fifth Dimension and Terror Tomb as well. I know that Donna was telling me about them beforehand as well. Yeah, because she managed to do them when she was younger. And so, yeah, you know, it was really interesting to hear about those older versions, which I haven't really experienced. I think I saw a POV of Terror Tomb once, because I do remember they had like the kind of the guitar playing character in there at one point, so I think I did see that. And one really cool bit near the end when we were just about to go into the queue line, or you know, kind of the first bit of the queue line was there's actually a little kind of, it looks like kind of a storage closet, and in there they have some of the walling is actually from the original Fifth Dimension ride. Which is really cool. Like, they still have like the paintwork on the walls, and apparently there's another room in the back near there, which that whole room is still themed to the Fifth Dimension, which is, you know, it's a really cool, you know, little Easter egg again that people wouldn't see. And it's nice to have that, you know, that original thing there, which is awesome. And then finally, obviously, there was the John Wardley bit in the station, where I feel like the bigger bit of that, I mean, obviously, you know, it was lovely to go to the station, lovely to again like get some good shots of like the you know, the cars and stuff, get some shots like in the station with the lights on, go on to the brake run as well, which is really cool because again, you don't really see that bit lit up, and got some like really nice shots of like the lighting kind of out the back as well there, which is really cool. I think actually Elise and Sam got their picture as well on that bit of the brake run, so yeah, that was a lovely one again with the little lantern, which again I kind of wish we had a lantern, but we didn't. But I think the main part of that one was with John Wardley. Obviously, that man can talk for days, and I don't care because I love it. Because yeah, he's great to listen to. He's really engaging to listen to. This is the second time I've kind of heard him talk and stuff. I went to the Towers Times 20th birthday celebration thing where he did a talk, and I was literally on the seats nearest to him. I was literally like right in front of him while he was talking there. And yeah, he's just so engaging to talk to. Like, I remember the first question was like, why did he choose a vampire theme? And he talked for like 10 or so minutes, maybe a bit longer, and went into loads of stuff. Like, he didn't just talk about that, he talked about like Bubble Works as well, and where that came in, and like the theming for the entire area, and where that all came about, and talking about the station, the theming in there, all in that one question, which I loved. I loved the fact that he went into so much detail with that. And yeah, he's just so interesting to listen to, and yeah, it was really great to see that. It was also really great to see Donna's reactions as well, because I think, yeah, it was a bit overwhelming for her because he's been so influential in her life, and that was really nice to see, actually. And at the end, I actually managed to get some pictures as well for them for getting some things signed. I think it was the new book that John Wardley has as well, and one of the park maps that they got signed as well, and they got a picture together as well, which is really cool. So yeah, just that was lovely to see as well. But yeah, it's always worth it when John Wardley's doing stuff, because it's like he's so interesting to listen to, like, and a very, very nice soothing voice for John. He wasn't in that theatrical mode that he was in at the beginning on the behind the scenes thing, don't worry, but it was just cool. And it was a nice end as well. I kind of like that we got to do that at the end as well, which is really cool. But yeah, you know, we got to have a look around the station, but as they go round to the brake run. One really cool thing that we saw actually was the way that they kind of like do clearance on the ride to check that there's like no hazards in the way, is they actually have this kind of framework thing, which they then they basically carry above them and then like walk around the ride with it just to make sure there's no clearance. I thought that's like a really cool detail. Just wanted to do a little shout out here as well to someone who I actually recognised from our group on the behind the scenes tour. I recognise them from Instagram. Their handles ZCat Coasters, or I guess ZCat Coasters, I don't know, because we're British, aren't we? We say Z, don't we? But yeah, I'll just say ZCat Coasters. The username's zcat.coasters_. Go and check them out. You know, really good costumes and stuff. I recognise that the Wicker Man ones that she did, which were absolutely great. You know, obviously I love my costuming and stuff. And so yeah, so it's just really nice to say, hey, I recognise the channel, and it seems like she really appreciated that as well. You know, I always like to try and, you know, make people feel good about their content and stuff, because I know that I'm not exactly the biggest content creator myself, so it's like, you know, it's nice to kind of share that love a bit, which was really nice. But yeah, it was lovely to meet you. Hopefully we get to meet at some other points. But yeah, it was lovely to say hi and stuff. So yeah, go and follow her on Instagram. I'm not sure if she has other socials and handles or not, but yeah, definitely go follow. And then as a last little thing we got given on the way out was this. We got this lovely, I'll probably put a picture of this in as well, but it was a lovely signed John Wardley print, which I'm hoping to God I can get home in one piece. It would have been nice if we could have had like a little plastic wallet for it. It's a nice little thing to end, nice little bit of merch, which is cool. So yeah, that was a nice little surprise for the end, which is good. So would I say that this was worth the price? I mean, for me, the price, I can't remember what the normal price was, but for annual pass it was £195, which, yes, is a lot. It's nearly the price of this hotel for 2 nights. But yeah, I would say it was worth it. You got a lot out of it. You got an ERT on Vampire, which I believe was about 45 minutes. You know, I mean, we got 6 or 7 rides on it, so great ERT for that. I think on like the Nemesis, when I did the original Nemesis ERT with Towers Times, I got like 8 on that. So, you know, it's pretty comparable to that. Then you get a free meal as well in Burger Kitchen, where I believe they would actually let you, because I ordered the chicken tenders and they said, oh, do you want the vampire burger with it as well? So I could have got like basically 2 meals essentially for free, and you get a free donut with that as well, and a drink obviously with the meal. Also the chance to get a free kind of like piece of the vampire ride if you manage to answer those questions correctly, which, you know, yeah, that's pretty cool. And those things weren't things that went up for auction, so, you know, that's awesome. Again, it felt like an auction, but it technically wasn't. And then you get basically 2 behind the scenes tours. You essentially get the vampire one split in 2, and then you get this new Tomb Blaster one, which also, we were the first members of the public to be able to do that. And also this event was limited to 60 people as well, which means it was a quite limited event. First time doing that, and essentially you getting 2 behind the scenes tours, one half of one of them with John Wardley. So like, I feel like with all of that combined, yeah, it's worth it considering the price you have to pay for some of these behind the scenes tours. I'd say that's worth it. I think also considering how limited it is as well, it was worth splurging out a little bit of money for. And you also get the lanyard and this lovely little photo thing. So yeah, like, you know, you get that, you get the autograph, you get that stuff. It was fun, and it was also worth getting back to Chessington as well. Gave me a reason to come up here and to meet Donna finally for the first time, which is lovely. So yeah, overall I'd say worth it. Yes, it is a lot of money, but it is a very premium thing, and it's kind of a, as Elise told me, because she's the one who kind of encouraged me to do this, which is very nice, so very thankful for that. But yeah, she said it's kind of like a once in a lifetime thing, which it is. The thing, you're not going to get this version of the tour with John Wardley, and I imagine the Tomb Blaster one may change after this. So yeah, like there's yeah, it's definitely kind of like once in a lifetime thing, and being able to do this all on one night as well. Yeah, it was quite brilliant. So that's enough of me rambling now. What I thought I'd do for the last part of this video is, because I don't know whether I've been able to use all the footage or not, is show all the footage I've got in kind of like a montage of footage. Obviously there will be spoilers from this point onwards, so if you don't want spoilers for these behind the scenes tours, I think especially for the Tomb Blaster one, because that one is really cool, I think, then yeah, obviously don't keep watching from this point. I didn't film like everything. The most I probably filmed was Tomb Blaster, so that's what I'm saying, you'll probably get spoiled for a lot of that. Yeah, with the vampire one I didn't really film as much, especially on the John Wardley bit. I filmed some bits of him speaking, but to be honest, for most of it I just wanted to listen to him really. And so yeah, so I got some pictures, I got a lot of footage as well. I think there was like 100 clips when I checked last night, probably most of them from Tomb Blaster. So yeah, I'm just going to put those in like a little montage at the end, if you want to watch. If you don't, fine. But yeah, I'll put all of those in, obviously any that could be used. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this last little montage.
full service, put back together, then it'll be retested and come back on Christmas, and then one of the other trains will come off. Oh no, that was just during that winter when Vekoma were here, before then Arrow as well. And then
Oh no, I'm taking the white one. Take the photos.
When you go round and you see his face is different. His face is totally that we're sitting back and he's spun.
Anything like medical, and if somebody needed answers because they don't actually could say, but if someone actually don't answer, then yeah, we'd go in. If it was shoes, if it was like a medical device. I know. So for example, we had many people who would like grasp it and say.
forklifts and things like that. The photograph, when you go. So yes, the trains are a lot bigger. The station 4 had to be dropped. The other section there. Different manufacturer, Arrow, and then probably before my time that would probably have been Arrow and Vekoma as well. And Vekoma have done some modification slightly to the track back there. And if you just look here, you can see there's 2 bolts and part of the tracks is missing, and that is again Vekoma made that modification because of the transition.
Is someone turn that floodlight?
You ready?
We're waiting, we're giving anybody a chance to go to the toilet if you need it now.
Yeah, this way.
So many things you've never noticed before. I'm still noticing things. It's like, what?
It's so funny.
So, has everyone here been on Tube Blaster? Has anyone noticed that before the ride sends, the ride host is standing here doing a weird thumbs up signal?
Yep.
Does anyone know what that switch over the track, and they can send the train straight into there for repairs or anything that they need? So they literally just.
It's not scary at all, but it is obviously in the dark. Was the ball working last time?
Always been put back.
I'm just going to talk about a little bit of the history of this ride. It originally opened when the park opened in 1987. I hope. So this is the snake pit. It's called that because there's snakes in a pit. So this area is pretty much the same as it was in Terra 2, except Abdab has been removed. Abdab was kind of taunting us about wanting this emerald for himself, while sending the snakes at us. You can still see the snakes that pop up for us today. They used to be in Terra 2 as well. Does anyone want any photos by this room? It's mouth for somewhere really obscure that's really high. Over there, which today it turns around and there's that mummy on the other side. What it used to be was Abdab would stand on this side of it, he would be turned around and then the thing would turn back and he'd be gone. Then he would fall into that sarcophagus over there, and then that mummy over there, you can still see it's holding a jewel, would pop up, taunting Abdab that he has the jewel. Can you guess what ride that is referring to? This is called Axe Alley, because we have these axes coming down as we go through. section of Anubis. We see him more towards the end of the ride with the big Anubis. I believe that he was just a wolf though, just a snarling wolf when he was in Terra 2. Over here we have this, have they always been there? They have always been there. I think it was there's so much that
It's been thrown across the thing,
they say it's been here, so maybe.
Sounds very nice.
Okay, so this scene once again is actually original from Terra.
He was always known. I just thought it was a skeleton. I didn't know it was after. I didn't know it was
You see them, they got them working. Yes, they got them actually fully working there, which is really, really cool. I don't know what happened to the rest of them though. No one actually really knows. And we go, what happened to them? People are like the people who did it at that time aren't here anymore, so we don't know where they all are. It's a bit of a shame.
the wall that's not always rotating. Yeah.
So when we get to this area of the ride, it has an ability here. There's 3 different parts. Yep. So if one of them's not spinning, the other's not spinning.
How much in the dark? Don't notice it because it's painted. Yeah. Obviously you've got this so you can see, but you can't tell anything with that.
What you're going to do is you're going to look directly into this. Never look directly into there. Any ride, if you see this bottle come out, look. So every time you go past, it will flash. For the amount of time that the car's going through, so it can tell how big the train is. Yes. So this was the song they would sing, because you stole the jewel, you now return into a ghoul. And the coffin would shut, and Abdab unfortunately would turn into a ghoul. So he did kind of get his comeuppance in the end. So it's amazing that you can pose with the snake behind you and an angle. If you step slightly away from each other, but still like kind of, there we go, just so I can get him in the background. Looking mad. Perfect. This area here. Can we guess what this area is called?
Scary skeletons.
This is called Scary Skeletons.
That's right. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of scary skeletons. The reason why these guys are here is to give us a final scare. Part of the ride did go down, and Zakomatic would tell you that he has made a gun, and the guests got to fire a gun if they need to. They've got their control panels, they can start it back up again if they need to as well. Today was quite busy, so we're running. If you're sat in here long enough waiting to go back into the station, yeah. So obviously it will rotate and turn and then connect to here, and it will be able to back the train up into the engineering, just everyone so we can see it. Paint splodged just on his face, and he has a scarab beetle right on his chest. The reason why they blacked out his face. What's Tovik's job?
God the night. The apparatus before yesterday.
This is one of the original walls. Also behind where we see all of those shovels and those spades over there. You look at that before, who do we see?
The radio.
He's sat over.
So it's a day.
Why the vampire?
Right, well, but basically, when we opened phase 1 of Chessington in 1980, the stones of the RNC in the foam mountain. just to explain the way it used to work. It's the transfer track if you wanted to remove it from the track. The transfer track would slide across and the train would then go down there into the maintenance workshop. This has been done away with now, and the way it works is that the train is taken into the station. The tumble track then operates, and I'll show you that. This was the original bird garden. The whole of the site was the bird garden. Which that drops and the water is fed around. It was 1890. Wow. Yes. Yes, so it was a major project, all this excavation, as you can imagine, and a huge amount of reinforced concrete to support the piece of track above it. The whole thing tips over, and you then end up with a straight piece of track that joins these two together. So that's like a set of points on a railway. But because the storage siding and the track peels off, same sort of thing. Yes.
There's a lot of empty space in Team Lassie though, isn't there? Kind of like on the sides.
Yes.
Was there ever any plans?
Do you want to?
And that photograph in my book of the prototype vehicles in this.
I guess I should do the outro now. I mean, what's the next I guess the next video will be today's, which is just my day on park at Chessington. I didn't vlog that yesterday, mainly just because I just wanted to chill out, and also I needed to kind of get my bearings of the park as well. I got very lost. Elise tried to give me directions and I was too tired to follow them, so I didn't film yesterday. I will be filming today, so that will be the next video on the channel. So I guess until the Chessington proper vlog, I will see you next time. Bye.